One of the first blog posts I ever wrote was my breastfeeding story. I just knew it was the best place to start because once you have your baby, breastfeeding is one of the first struggles that smacks you in the face, and you have to learn really quickly, and it's the priority, and everything is about breastfeeding as soon as that baby comes out, or at least feeding your baby. I knew quite early on that I definitely wanted to at least try breastfeeding, so when Max arrived, it was the priority, was to get cracking with breastfeeding, get it sorted, get the latch right, practice, get into a good rhythm, all these good optimistic thoughts, but it didn't happen like that. Well, I always wanted to try breastfeeding. I just thought, you know, I have boobs, they're gonna be full of milk, I might as well have a crack at this. It's free, it's natural, it's best for the baby, all that jazz. I remember quite early on in antenatal classes, all the other mums were very, very worried about labour and, you know, the process of giving birth. And I remember thinking, what is wrong with me? All I'm worried about is breastfeeding and how I might not be able to do it, how to do it, just all these questions that totally probably put me in the wrong mindset as it was, because you need to have a positive mental attitude. But hello, anyone that's given birth, it's quite hard to keep that kind of momentum going. When Max arrived, he arrived via a C-section, and you know, it's well documented that your milk takes a little bit longer to come in. I don't know, science. So my milk came in on the 5th day. We got home, my milk came in, my nipples were so sore. Oh my god. No one tells you about how sore your boobs are going to be. I really, really struggled with that. The pain was insane. Not only the pain of Max latching on, but also the pain of the letdown. And everyone around me was saying, you know, go for it, keep going, you're doing really well. And that was amazing. And I remember quite early on, I was really struggling. I think every day I was like, grab the formula, we need to feed this kid something else. We need to feed this kid. That was my main priority. I was just so scared that he wasn't getting any milk, and I never knew how much milk he was getting. It was really hard to, especially at the beginning with your first, you have no idea what's going. Your body is doing all this stuff. You don't know how much is coming out. I was feeding like every 45 minutes to an hour. I had like an app. Oh God, it's all coming back to me. I had an app that was like left boob 5 minutes, right boob 7 minutes. Oh my God, it was such a nightmare. It was intense, I gotta say. My mother-in-law stayed with us when Max first arrived. She was just staying for, you know, a few days. And I just remember, she's had 3 boys. She said to me, Natasha, it's painful now, but this will last for 3 weeks. I just remember hearing 3 weeks. I didn't hear anything else that she said. She probably said loads of other useful stuff as well, but I remember thinking 3 weeks. And at that point, I literally needed someone to say, it's going to take this amount of time and you will be okay. It's going to be tough in this time, but you need to get through it to be okay. I don't know why, but at that point in my life, I totally responded to it, and I was like, okay, I can do this. 3 weeks in a, you know, grand scheme of my life, 3 weeks is fine. I will get to 3 weeks. I got to 3 weeks. It was still bloody painful. So I felt like I'd been duped a bit, but I remember thinking, I gotta carry on. I've already done 3 weeks. I can't believe I've done 3 weeks. How many more times could I say 3 weeks? And then I was introduced to my friend the Medela pump. A breastfeeding mum's best friend is the pump, the breast pump. And I pumped like a crazy person. My mother-in-law still talks about my pumping to this day. Like, she literally cannot get over how much milk I was producing. And I have to say, from struggling so much with how much milk I was producing, not knowing, pumping was phenomenal. I was filling up 5-ounce bottles with one boob. I was just blown away, and the sense of achievement was amazing. Once you get the feeding sorted, that's half the battle, honestly. The next battle is, what if you're outside and you need to breastfeed your baby and you're not comfortable with whipping the boob out? Or how do you do it elegantly? How do you do it and hide your nipple? How do you have a life and breastfeed? That was so incredibly hard for me, especially as I was in a place which I was living abroad. I was in a country that wasn't necessarily okay with breastfeeding. They were big formula feeders, so that was hard. I didn't feel like I could go out and breastfeed my baby. So I stayed in, and that was such a mistake to make because I was a hermit and I was in this brand new situation. I was stressed, I was a worry ball, I was not producing enough milk because I was stressed, and then I had to stay in because I didn't want to go outside and I was embarrassed. And I've got quite big boobs, so it's not as simple as, breastfeeding. It would be like whipping, a boob out. It was not as graceful or elegant as, it was a mess. I like those mums who have like a little sling. Yeah, I need like a bed sheet. Oh, God. I was a state, if I'm quite honest. If I wasn't pumping, I was breastfeeding. If I wasn't breastfeeding, I was crying. And if Max was asleep, I just remember looking at him when he was asleep, and I just would pray he didn't wake up so I wouldn't have to feed him because my boobs were sore. And that's not bonding. That's not great, is it? I still look back at that time and I regret it so, so much. It's not that I regret breastfeeding. I just regret that I didn't listen to myself and what I needed and my instincts, which were, you know what, you are not happy. As long as that kid is getting food, it doesn't matter how. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a bottle with powdered milk. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a boob. As long as that baby is not hungry, completely happy, mum's happy, baby's happy, everybody's happy. As long as that's all happening, you're doing a bloody brilliant job. I remember pumping, breastfeeding for 9 solid, awful months. And then we went on to formula. I just felt like I'd been given a new lease of life. And it was only at that point that I was like, you've just wasted that time. You just wasted that lovely time with your son worrying about something that's so, so stupid. So, so stupid. But I'm pleased that I did breastfeed him for that long. But at the same time, I do think I would have been happier if I had listened to myself. And that doesn't mean that formula is right. It doesn't mean that breastfeeding is right. I just think it's whatever's right for you and your baby is right, and you will know. And that is my story. So I hope that helps any of you who are struggling. Just be happy is my main message. Breastfeeding, formula feeding. That kid's had both and he is pretty A-okay. And good luck.